Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to this edition of SportsView on learmedia.tv. Press the red button on the right-hand side to subscribe to our channel, and we thank you for that. Good evening, Derwynne, Honan, and welcome.
Hey, Pat. Hi, Joe.
Good evening, Joe Waters, and welcome.
Evening, Pat. Evening, Derwynne. Good to see you guys.
Well, is the sun shining outside your window?
No. It's raining cats and dogs over here right now.
Well, the winter is in here as well, so we have something equally in common anyway.
Yeah.
And over in London, I presume it's okay over there, Derwynne, is it?
We had a frost today. I had to clear the car.
Oh, because
Wow.
no.
Yeah.
Well,
I had to clear the car, put the heated windscreens on, and all the rest of it.
It
was bitter today. I went for a meeting at one golf club today, and I actually had a scarf on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I could have done with gloves.
Gloves. I wore gloves yesterday. We were at a rally in Dublin, and the crowd stood up. I had to wear gloves because my hands are frozen. And if your head and your hands, you feel the cold. If you have gloves and a hat on you, you're okay. Yeah.
As long as you put the gloves on the right part.
I put my gloves on my head and my hat on my hands. Anyway.
I've been going around with my hat in my hand for a long time.
But we had no Premiership over the weekend, but a lot of the European qualifiers are on, and there's some on tonight. Ireland have gone ahead against Gibraltar. We're here broadcasting Monday, the 16th of October, 2023, at almost 8:10 Greenwich Mean Time. Evan Ferguson has scored after 8 minutes for Ireland, and that's some positive news. But over the weekend, we had the Rugby World Cup. We'll be looking at the results there. We'll be looking at a bit of golf, soccer, tennis, and snooker if we get to it. Anyway, the Rugby World Cup didn't pan out too well for Ireland, but they were well beaten by the All Blacks. The All Blacks were in charge of the game from the very start, and they were really, really good, looked very well. England had their win against Fiji, a tight one, 30-24. France and South Africa saw the second half of last night. It was a cracking match. I think that South Africa are looking supreme again to lift the Webb Ellis. They have to be favourites now. And who else is left of it? Argentina beat Wales 29-17. A disappointing result for Wales, I thought myself. I thought they would do the job, but they didn't. So 3 Southern Hemisphere teams, Argentina versus the All Blacks, and England versus South Africa. England, of course, are the only Northern Hemisphere team to win the World Cup, the Webb Ellis. Isn't that right? Yes. Yeah. So they're still, despite what people might say about them, they're still there. They seem to be improving, dare I say it, with every game, dare we dream, Derwynne. What do you think? Did you see much of rugby?
Yeah, I thought Wales, Wales just ran out of steam with the young players. I think they lost the experience part.
Yeah.
Because they were winning that game.
They were.
And there was a period in the second half where they just kind of, the youth took over rather than the brains. And I think as well, Bigger was obviously clearly injured playing.
Yeah.
I think Liam Williams was injured playing. So I think they were probably carrying a few casualties as well. But, I think maybe next time round they'll be a little bit better with that experience.
Yes, yeah. Well done to Wales anyway, because they were a team that, as we said before, mentioned on this program, that they were very disorganized, a lot of discord in the camp until Gatlin came in, and really he should be proud of what he did, and all the players as well. So they had a positive World Cup. Ireland then lined up against the All Blacks. You can imagine 1.4 million people tuned into Virgin Media to watch the match in Ireland, that they know of. But very, very disappointing. A very disappointing performance, in my opinion, by the Irish team, What do you think, Joe? Did you see that game?
Oh, I saw the game, yeah. It's kind of a little bit the opposite what happened in the Wales game, really. Wales came out flying and really got into their stride early. Ireland came out, I wouldn't say came out sluggish, but the All Blacks came out fired up for it, and we went 13 points down, in a quick, and then we got it back, but it takes enormous effort to get yourself back to that, and
at that level, yeah.
At that level, yeah, it does, and I mean, it's so hard to be critical of players that have done so well for you for so long, because they've got us to where we are, and it was one of those for me that we picked a bad day to have a bad day. It was one of those.
Yeah.
And any other time you can get away with it, and what have you. But in a knockout game against a team of that quality, you need to be on your A game the whole time, the way through. And the most disappointing part of it was, some of the mental errors that we made. I mean, we had 20 minutes there where we were playing 14 men. And in the second part of it, in the second 10-minute period there, it was so disappointing because giving up that penalty and having them converted took away an avenue for us to win this game. Because if we don't give that penalty away and they don't kick it, and they'd been kicking from a distance all day, so you had to be disciplined and not do anything that was going to give the referee an opportunity to make a decision against you. And unfortunately, we made that mistake, and it gave them the extra points. And when it came to, when push came to shove, and we had our last stand, we had 37 phases of player, 34 phases of place. That if we'd had the opportunity to be within one score of them at that stage, that opens up the whole thing for what's his name to drop goal, and that took one of them away. And I thought it would, as I was thinking about it, I was thinking to myself, it's so ironic. This looks so much like Paris a couple of years ago when Johnny Sexton dropped the winner after something like 40 phases of play or something like that, some ridiculous amount. And I thought, if we just had not given that penalty up, we could have snuck it at the end with that.
True, Joe. And I think obviously it's the players that win or lose a game, but the management team of Ireland has to take some measure of responsibility as well, in my opinion, from the game that we were watching. Johnny Sexton was not on the game, certainly way too slow to get the ball, to move the ball, in my opinion. It was a game too far. Johnny Sexton should have been taken off at half-time to see what difference. I mean, there was a young player chomping at the bits there to get on, and that could have made a difference. We were destroyed. Our hooker was not at the game at all. Our hooker should have been replaced after 20-25 minutes, and he was awful as well. I know our lineouts were very poor, but he contributed largely to that. The front row for Ireland, Porter, and unfortunately my favourite player, Tyke Furlong, they were not at the races. They were totally outmuscled, outmaneuvered. They were in trouble very early. Changes could and should have been made there. We played an injured player on the wing, Matt Hansen, and a lot of the All Blacks attacks came down that side of the pitch, and rightly so. He was injured. It was plain to anybody to be seen. The last thing you do is play an injured player against the caliber of the All Blacks, because there's no doubt, or any team for that matter. And we had Keith Earls on the bench with plenty of experience. I'm not saying he'd have won the match round. He was fit, ready to go. He had 2 legs in him, not 1.5, like Matt Hansen had. And really, there was an awful lot of cumulative mistakes made. No major one, but add them all together, and you were playing the best team we'll ever see in world rugby, one of them outside of South Africa, which is New Zealand. So
I think when you look at all the matches over the weekend, I actually think the refereeing in every single match was so inconsistent.
Well, Wayne Barnes was shocking. Wayne Barnes has been shocking against Ireland for years and years and years. He's given some horrendous decisions against Ireland. And when I saw his name down for that match, how the Irish team, the IRFU, did not object to him. He's not an objective referee, in my opinion, when it comes to Ireland. He's a dreadful referee. He gets in the way of playing rugby. That's just me.
I mean, that Argentinian tackle with the Welsh lad Tompkins.
Yeah.
You know, the referee says it's not a head tackle.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And then he sends Tompkins off for a head examination. And you go, hang on a second, how can you send him off for a head injury exam?
HIA, yeah.
Yeah, when then you ruled it as not a head tackle. I mean, how does that work? And then I also thought Fiji. I actually think Fiji, their kicking is so bad. They're not renowned kickers, are they?
Yeah,
but it was funny. I was watching Fiji. The first one that your man missed for Fiji. I'm watching, and the kicker is going through his routine and what have you. And I'm looking around him, and all the Fiji players are walking around. You know, I mean, they're all within 5 yards of him, and they're all walking around. And I mean, anybody that knows these guys have a routine set up, and they need total concentration for that. And the last thing you need is your own players moving around while you're getting ready to take a kick like that.
Right, yeah.
No, I mean, they were unlucky. He whipped a couple of them across the front of the post, and then he hit the post twice. Right, the second one turned out to be fortuitous because they scored a try from it.
Yeah,
but their kicking, that was the thing that really let them down on that. But you know, talking about the Irish team, you know, we were so close, you know, and we made some poor decisions tactically. Like the first one, when we decided instead of taking the 3 points, we kick into touch, and then we give the ball away from that. Yeah. You know, that's 3 points missed right there. And every other team that you watched, when they got the opportunity, they're putting points on the board. Yeah. Because points on the board are better than maybe we could score.
You're right. There was 3 kickable penalties, in my opinion, easy penalties that we went for the corner. Now, New Zealand would not have done that.
No.
You keep the scoreboard ticking over. That was 9 points. We didn't. We missed an easy penalty. Sexton missed a very easy penalty, which was surprising for me, you know?
Yeah.
So it's 12 points. So, I mean, we can add up all night, but really, it was a disappointing result. We won't see Johnny Sexton again. We won't see that supreme winger for Ireland again, Keith Harrells. He's announced his retirement. An absolute superb player, a gifted player, a very, very solid player, and really a class act. Peter O'Mahony will be retiring as well, I'd say. Peter O'Mahony. He's almost 34. He won't be around for the next World Cup. And he has a chance at the World Cup. He'd have more chance than we would have lining up at the first tee for Live Golf, as we were talking before. We wish Peter O'Mahony well as well. But I don't know. I mean, we had Paul O'Connell was the forwards coach. I didn't see much of his stamp on the team.
Well, you know, I mean, the thing is, though, we can be very critical of one game, you know, and take into account
we have to be honest. We have to be honest. These are professional players.
Yes, they are.
On massive salaries. That's all they're paid to do is play rugby.
But everybody can have a bad day, you know, and it was not as if we stumped the place out. We were within 4 points of New Zealand at the end of the match in a game that we didn't play our best.
True.
Now, Lady Luck was not on our side. That one where Peter O'Mahony just couldn't get onto was a terrific play with
ball was just too high. Yeah.
Yeah, with the ball, the bounce of the ball being a little bit lower, and then Mac Hansen tried to put somebody in with a great little kick, and we just missed on that one. So there were a lot of things that just went wrong for us, but we were still within 4 points of this winning this game at the very end, in spite of us not being firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things. Every team, I don't care who you are, we saw it happen with the All Blacks and France in the first match when they played each other. You know, the All Blacks had it taken to them, really. You know, we beat South Africa, but they bounced back from that. So it's, you know,
Yes,
it's
that's true.
very,
I suppose as bad and as disappointing it is for Ireland, you can imagine being France, a French rugby player, playing in your home tournament. But that was a phenomenal game of rugby,
yes. I mean, there were a lot of really good games in the latter stages of it. I mean, Saturday and Sunday was a feast for anybody that loved rugby.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, but every one of those games were absolutely a joy to watch. And I mean, for whatever it was, you know, Fiji were great to watch. They were error prone, but it didn't seem to bother them. They just kept going and going. England were very methodical in what they were doing and just stuck in with it. And, you know, what does your man do? The English out half, Farrell, he drops a goal to practically seal the deal, you know, for them. And, you know, we could have had the same opportunity, but it just wasn't to be for us. And I learned that a long time ago from my father, who was a great rugby man and a soccer man. And, you know, I always found it very hard.
Was that Mick?
No, Ned.
Ned, I mean, Ned Borders, yeah. That's right.
And I always found it very hard when I knew we had a good team. We followed Pike Rovers for years and years, and we were always trying to win the FAI Junior Cup, and we could just not get over that hump. Ned played in the final in 1948, I think, in Dublin, 48-49, and they lost 1-0, missed a penalty. And forever after that, they were chasing it, and I used to always think, you know, we'd go to those games, but we were the better team. Yeah, but we weren't today.
You know, I was above at one a couple of years ago when they played North End from Wexford, Pike. Pike were head and shoulders above them, not because they were, and they just could not get that goal.
Yeah.
And then from what we call an uneventful attack by West End, they scored.
Yeah.
You know, it's just so deflating. And anyway, there we are. But Friday night we have Argentina and the All Blacks, and Saturday evening then we have England and South Africa. Don't be surprised. England will not lie down, Derwynne, not because you're on the program. I think that will be a very tough game. England and South Africa will be a huge game. I think the All Blacks will steamroll Argentina.
I think you'll have a New Zealand South Africa final.
Yeah, it's looking that way. Looking that way. Well, that's the Rugby World Cup. SportsView is the program on learnmedia.tv. Tell all your friends about us and press the red button to subscribe to our channel. And you're with Derwynne, Honan, Joe Waters and myself as we're all here on a Monday night. We're just briefly going to touch on golf. I was telling Derwynne before you came on, Joe, that I usually look at as many sports websites on a Monday morning as I can to get a bit of scandal or anything that's hanging around that mightn't have been broadcast on live television or live radio. And on the BBC website today, when I went into golf, they had for the very first time Live Golf, the results of Live Golf for the very first time. So there we are. Anyway, the Shires Open in Las Vegas was won by Tom Kim at -20. He 68, 68, 62 and 66. Incredible scores, eye-catching scores. He won that. Anyway, that was Tom Kim. Do you see any golf over the weekend, Derwynne?
I didn't. I didn't see any of it.
this chap from France, Mathieu Pavon. Well, the N is silent for people who like speak French, but I'm not French, so it's Pavon. Mathieu Pavon had his first win. He won the Spanish Open at -23.
Yeah.
These are eye-watering scores. We said it before. A 63, a 68, a 66, and 64. Just eye-watering scores, you know. And then we had Brooks Koepka, good old my favorite player. I know he was destroyed in the Ryder Cup, but didn't affect him. He won in a playoff. He won the Live Golf in a playoff, and from Taylor Gooch, who won the whole thing, who won the individual prize for Live Golf,
Yeah.
and an extra 14 million euro as well on top of whatever he won. Just
Quite interesting with Taylor Gooch, isn't it? Because
yeah,
he's obviously a good player and he's won on the PGA Tour and all the rest of it.
yeah.
But he seems to have come of age playing on Live, doesn't he?
He has 3 victories and he beaten in the playoff now against Brooks Koepka. So
Yeah.
I mean that's stunning. What about Lexi Thompson?
I think she did well, didn't she?
She didn't qualify, but by God, I mean she got huge support.
Yeah.
She would have been the first female golfer. She didn't qualify, but if she had, she'd have been the first 19 since 1948 to qualify for a men's tournament.
Yeah.
You know, she only missed by 2 strokes. Was it 2 or 3? Forget. Anyway,
2, I think, wasn't it?
2 strokes she only missed by, but she went around it very well. But we spoke about her before. She's a great character anyway. She's brilliant. You know, I think she's very good for golf. She's good for ladies golf, obviously, but I think she's one of the good. She reminds me of Laura Davis in her heyday. You know.
No, there's a girl who could hit it, I tell you.
No, Laura Davis and she had attitude to go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She could have a bet on 2 flyers going up the window.
and you could still enjoy her commentary at times. It's a bit edgy at times, which I like about her. You know,
she's a good girl, Laura.
where's she from, Derwynne?
She's so she lives in the village just outside of Chertsey in a place called Ottershaw. But Foxhills, which is the club I was at when I was younger,
Yeah,
Foxhills is based in Ottershaw, and she used to come up to the club quite a lot to swap gloves and different things and stuff like that because there's a lot of Laura, if that makes any sense.
yeah.
And the glove manufacturer that she was sponsored by always had issues with the gloves. They could never quite get the right sizing for her. So she'd often come in the shop and swap gloves and for some of the other gloves that we stocked, sort of thing. But she's a great girl. I mean, great girl.
I was reading about her. I mean, she was at an era when I wasn't that tuned into golf, and I was reading about her. She had a phenomenal career altogether. You know.
Oh, she
Just
she
phenomenal.
could knock it past a lot of men off the tee.
Just fantastic player altogether.
And she never used the tee peg.
No?
No, she used to walk on the first tee, and it didn't matter where it was. It didn't matter what golf course it was. She always had a 5-iron in her hand and her driver, and she'd smack the 5-iron into the turf to make a tuft, and then she'd plonk the ball on it and smash the driver off it. Honestly, I've got a couple of Laura Davis stories that I can't say on air.
Yeah.
When we're having liver and bacon next, Pat, we'll talk about it. But what some girl, I tell you, she's into her cars, she's into gambling, she's into everything.
I'll tell you something. I noticed, I didn't know much about her, but I noticed when she was on the Golf Channel, which I have on my sake, the Golf Channel, and there was a nervousness on the panel when Laura was on. Because, it's very proper at times, too proper, but Laura would shoot from the hip and she'd speak from the hip, if you follow my drift,
Mad keen Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
Lots of football. Yeah, she's just a good girl. I mean, she's the kind you could sit around a table in a bar with Laura and just say nothing, but have one of the best evenings you've ever had.
You must tell her about Enzo's in Limerick and thing, and she'd be at home in that place, would she?
I think she'd go for liver and bacon. That's for sure.
Oh, good.
Yeah, she's a great girl. She is.
Yeah, we have the European qualifying tournaments on for 2024 over the weekend, and our own Republic of Ireland were beaten at home 2-0 by Greece. 36 games under Stephen Kinney, and 5 of them won out of 36. The record, but just the figures themselves don't tell the full story. I mean, we have a very, very young, inexperienced squad of players. I'm talking about totality of the squad, and young John Egan was missing with injury, which is a terrible loss to the back, to the anchor in the back was missing, and the rest of them did the best they could. But Greece were good. Greece were better than us. There's no doubt about that. But it was disappointing playing at home. As I said, they went up 1-0 earlier on this evening against Gibraltar, who are really, I don't know what they are really, but they're in the European Championship. Evan Ferguson scored after 8 minutes. He was disappointing in the last match, but anyway, I don't know how long we'll be able to keep him. That's Evan Ferguson. Anyway, over the last couple of days, Spain beat Norway, and Haaland didn't do much. Spain beat him 1-0, which meant that Scotland qualified for the European Championships in 2024.
Oh, wow.
The Scottish team are doing extremely well. They're qualified now, and they can put their feet up.
England got lucky.
Oh, in the friendly against Australia.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
England were shocking.
That's hot. Should they have a shocking manager, for God's sake, a clown?
I get it was a friendly, and he put out total youngsters. I mean, I think Grealish was probably the most.
When the Grealish scored, did he, or he laid on the ball anyway?
He laid it on, yeah. It was going in, but the other lad got his foot across it. Yeah, but I think Grealish was the actual most capped player on the pitch, and that's not a lot for Grealish. But I mean,
Australia are tough.
They were good. England got, these young superstars that they've got out there. They got lucky.
And the thing I loved watching was Mbappe. You pay money to watch Mbappe playing soccer. France beat the Netherlands 2-1, or should I say Mbappe beat the Netherlands 2-1. I mean, he was just, I don't know, he reminded me of George Best. It doesn't matter where he is on the pitch. Give him the ball. He'll either create a chance, he'll either force the defense to make a mistake, or he'll score. He'll do something anyway, Greece, as I said, Wales beat Croatia. That was a good victory for Wales, 2-1, because Croatia are on those slouches. They're a tough team, as we saw down through the years. And so Portugal, Ronaldo scored 2 goals for Portugal. Another player is still 38 years of age. I don't know how long. Well, they went 3-0 up against Slovakia, and I switched over to another match. And when I came back to the match, to the Portugal match to see the end of it, it was 3-2. Now, they gave away 2 sloppy goals, Portugal, but they won comfortably enough. Should they have Bruno Fernandes, they have Ronaldo? They have some lovely players. That's Portugal, I think they'd be a good bet to win the European Championship. Myself?
I don't know.
Well, France probably would be stronger than them, but still, they would.
Yeah, but you're going to have Germany coming back as well. England are going to be there. It's interesting now that we talk about the England result and what have you. They're lucky to get a 1-0 win over Australia, but Australia have improved in leaps and bounds. And I just, this is the part I don't understand. In our neck of the woods, Ireland, England, Scotland, and Wales.
Yeah,
we always seem like Indian givers. You never give people. You're always critical of people, and then when they do something that you've been critical of them for, because you're not doing it, then you go, well, they were lucky to do this, they were lucky to do that. Gareth Southgate fields a team of youngsters, inexperienced internationals. Where else are they going to get games like that? And they're not going to get results every single time. You know, that's just the way it is. It's not going to happen. It's
That's
not all
true.
of a sudden you throw them out there and they're going to be the finished article. They're not. These guys need to play probably 20 or 30 international matches to be international players and comfortable in it. And there's just not that much time for it. So, you know, on the one hand, he's trying to do what's right for the long term. And you have to accept that results are not going to go the way you want, and performances are not going to be what you
No.
want all the time, you know. So you know, I'm happy to see that he's giving young fellas a chance. It's like our group with Stephen Kenny, a young group of kids, you know. And you know, can somebody tell me why is Didi Hamann on Irish TV?
I don't
That
know.
man has not a good word to say about anybody.
No. And
For him
it's
to accuse Stephen Kenny of stealing money and conning the public for whatever length of time is an absolute disgrace.
it's a disgrace, and
An
it's
absolute disgrace.
he's only on RT, which are a disgrace anyway, you know. Well, I can tell you now, lads, that Portugal are 5-0 up as we speak here, and Ronaldo has scored 2 of them. Bruno Fernandes has scored a goal, and Cancelo and João Felix, as we're on here, and Ireland have scored a second one from Young Johnson, so they're 2-0 up. But
So your bet is looking good then, Pat.
huh?
Portugal for the European Championships.
Well, they're 5-0 up now, and they're qualified anyway, you know.
Yeah.
And
But I mean, you've just listed off players there. It's like we know Cristiano Ronaldo, right? The other 4, all fabulous players.
Yeah.
They have a nice team.
They've got a terrific team. They've got some really good players.
They have take Ronaldo all over. They're all Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes always produces the good. There's lots of players can be like that when they're playing for their country, you know.
Yeah.
As opposed to the club like Manchester United. I mean, really, most players when they line out for Man United, I think they shudder when their name goes on the team sheet on a Saturday. You know, there's, oh no, do I have to play? Especially if it's Old Trafford. You know, there's a fear. I think there's a fear factor now. You know, in that club.
But you know what? Though why are you there? You know, I learned this a long time ago when I was an apprentice at Leicester.
Yeah.
And we had a match at Beaver Drive. We were playing a 13 match against Coventry or Derby or Villa or somebody like that. And Jimmy Bloomfield, who was our manager, was at the match. And we come in at half time and we're not playing very well.
Yeah.
And our coach, George Lewis, asked, he said, well, what's going on here, lads? Because we've been playing very well and we've been winning games pretty well. And the lads started going, well, we're kind of nervous. And George said, why? He said, well, the boss is here and, you know, he's making us nervous. And George says, well, lads, you're in the wrong place. Because if you can't play in front of him here, how are you going to play in front of him at Filbert Street? Because that's where you're hoping to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the same thing at Old Trafford. You know what? If you're not irritated and PO'd that your name is not on the team sheet, you should not be in that squad. You should not be at that club.
Yeah.
Because that is not an excuse. Every one of us would give our IT to be in that situation.
Yeah, and Manchester United's next match is away to Sheffield United, so I mean they should be able to take care of business there. 3 points, and
it'd be a tough game though, Pat.
Huh?
I think any game that United are playing is a tough game because Joe, you tell me you've played at Old Trafford,
yeah.
So you know for Sheffield Wednesday playing Man United, it's like their FA Cup final, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I think every team gets up for it. I think every team, and I'm not talking about every team maybe, but I think the lower half of the Premier League, when they go to play at Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United, Man City.
Totally concentrated,
That's the biggest games that some of them might ever play.
Yeah.
Right.
And let's face it, that's a bit like, you know, the 3 of us going to play at Augusta in the Masters.
Right.
If you turn up at that first tee and you go, oh, I don't know if I want to be here, you shouldn't be there.
No,
Exactly.
Because,
Well,
like Joe's just said, we'd give our kidneys to go and play at Wembley, wouldn't we?
yeah. That's true. That's very true. That's very true.
And
But
if you're not into it, it's you know, I sometimes get really ratty when I read in papers or media or whatever. You listen to, you know, oh, he needs a rest. You know, he's overplayed and all the rest of it. Jeepers creepers. I mean, surely I don't care. I can't imagine if you are Bobby Charlton or George Best or Eric Cantona that you didn't go, wow, I'm playing for Man United and we are playing at Old Trafford tonight.
yeah.
I mean, if you can't get up for that, you shouldn't be doing it.
Was it you were telling me, Derwynne, about the Beckham,
Documentary?
Yeah,
It is good to watch.
it is good. It is good.
It's very good, actually. You know, and he made, you know, you talk about that. I watched it last night. The last part of it.
Yeah.
And it was when he went to the Galaxy, and when he was at the Galaxy, he left to go on loan to AC Milan, and he got a taste for it in Milan, and he said he wanted to stay there. And Landon Donovan, who is an American international, was at the Galaxy as well.
Well, he's a superb player.
Terrific player. And Landon was the star man before Bex arrived, you know, all of a sudden, you know, the whole thing. So, but Landon and he didn't get along because Landon didn't think he was there for the right reasons.
Yes.
You know, he said he knew that these players some of the players weren't up to the quality that David Beckham was and what have you. And Landon Donovan. I mean, Landon Donovan was a fine player. So, but there were lesser players. But that didn't stop Landon Donovan from embracing the whole project. And he didn't feel that David Beckham was doing it. And they got into a conversation one day about it. And Bex was asking him, you know, why are you irritated with me for wanting to do this and wanting to do that?
Yeah.
And then in the finish, David Beckham came to the realization, and he went, you know, I need to apologize to him. Yeah. And he went and apologized to Landon Donovan. He said, I'm sorry. He said, I didn't realize it, but the Galaxy is your Manchester United. And I've disrespected that. Yeah. And I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
And then they were good after that. I saw him playing in the final up here in Seattle when they beat Real Salt Lake in the MLS Cup when they won it up there. You know, it was a good team. They had some nice players.
Yeah.
You know, but that was the whole thing, you know. A lot of people when they came to America, didn't take it seriously.
No.
You know, it's like I came over to play indoor because the NSL had folded at that time. And I remember John Giles was the manager at West Bromwich Albion. Norman Hunter was his assistant manager.
Yeah.
And they brought West Brom up to Grimsby to play in my benefit game. And after the game, I was in the restaurant at Brundle Park with the lads, and we were talking. And they were asking, you know, Norman said, John, he said, where are you going? You're going to America to play indoor? And I said, yeah. I said, he said, but isn't that just like playing in the gym? And Giles, he looks at him and he says, Norman, let me just tell you. He said, it's nothing like playing in the gym. He said, indoor is the hardest game I've ever played. He said, it is constant. Yeah. He said, it is constant. He said, you blink and you've lost it. He said, that's how, it's not just quick, but it is physically demanding.
Yeah, in your face all the time, yeah.
Oh, you could not play a 2-minute shift in an indoor soccer match. If you did, you were cheating.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form, because you couldn't. We used to do it where we would play a minute and a half tops, and that'd be the longest you would ever play. because there's constant line changes going on.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the other team is trying to put fresh guys against tired guys. So
Yeah.
you have to make your changes at the same time. And it was, I mean, you think about it, the ball goes out of play, clock stops.
Yeah.
That's it. You're playing the full 60 minutes. So even though the ball's gone out of play, it's stopped, and you continue where once the ball is kicked back in, free kick, clock stops. Anything like that, goal, clock stops. And you get the full 60 minutes of it. It took 2 hours to play the game, with timeouts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But John Jones said, no, it's nothing like that. Because John had been over in America, and he'd been playing, and he'd been a coach at the different teams. And he'd played indoor for a little bit as part of his contract.
Yeah.
And so he knew what the experience was. But yeah, it's just one of those things, and what I said, people disrespecting it, think that there's not any good players over here. They're greatly mistaken.
Yeah.
When I came over here, I played against Kaz Dana, who had played for Poland in the semi-final of the World Cup in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Johan Neeskens,
Wow.
who played for Holland.
Yeah.
In the World Cup final.
In two finals.
Yeah, Giorgio Chinaglia was here. I mean, so many top class players, and from all over the world. Not just,
And talking about Beckham's thing on Netflix. Did you see the scene with Beckham's father and Roy Keane?
I might have missed that one.
That scene, and it's just very good, He said, I love him. He said about Keane, Beckham's father, he said, you see it, Derwynne, did you see that scene?
Yeah, remind me. I have seen it.
I love him like my own son, Even though Beckham was there and all, you could see the respect that Beckham's dad had for Keane, because Keane, as they say, minded David Beckham when he came to Man United. And as Beckham's father was saying, I think you said it a few times, Joe, you'd always need one or two players like that on a team to look after the younger players, Well,
and that was it. I do remember it now, because I did see it, because Roy was on afterwards just speaking on his own, during the interview, and he said, well, David wasn't the most physical player.
No.
And people would bully him and try to, kick him and that. He said, but then he said there was a few of ours out there that could go and protect him, and we could throw in a few tackles as well. So, that was all part of being on the team, is that, some guys do it one way, other guys do it another way.
Do you think Roy Keane was a bit underrated when he was playing?
Well, the English press would never rate him because of the bias against him, because he was Irish.
Because, I mean, obviously being a Mad United supporter, I thought Keane was amazing.
Yeah, he was.
He was a fantastic player. I mean, there was a time there where, and Pat, I might disagree with you on that, because I will, I remember the game against Juventus in the Champions League.
The semi-final
At the El Alpi Stadium when they played that. And Roy gets his yellow card, so he's suspended for the final.
Yeah, he's out of the final.
Right. But then, I mean, he'd been playing out of his skin anyway. I mean, he was totally committed to the whole thing. And then, and it blows me away why people would even think this of a professional player. But all of a sudden you realize that you're not going to play in the European Cup final if you go through. So you stop playing. What kind of sense is that?
Yeah.
So Roy Keane redoubled his efforts. I mean, if he could, he played even better than he played up to that, because he was just the ultimate competitor. And he didn't. Things like that didn't bother him.
Of course, he's a fellow Corkonian. That's all we have in common, myself and Roy.
But there you go. Yeah.
But there's a great banter between himself and Gary Neville get on well, because they couldn't do the touring and all. But Gary Neville Gary Neville doesn't get Roy Keane's wit because he walks into it so many times. He just doesn't get his wit. You know, he's
I think he sets him up.
Yeah.
When Gary was saying, well, swapping jerseys, he says, "Oh, I got the jersey of Ronaldo. That's the Brazilian Ronaldo, and I got the jersey of some other of Johan Cruyff." And Roy Keane is looking at him quizzically. He said, "And look at what they got instead of, you know." Yes. That's very funny to me, you know. And it takes a while for it to click with Gary, you know.
Oh yeah. That was the one, like Sean Connery is on a talk show with what's his man? McCourt.
Frank McCourt.
Frank McCourt. Well, his brother Malachi used to do. He was a raconteur kind of guy as well. He used to do interviews on US TV.
Yes.
You know, in New York, and he had Sean Connery on there one night, and he was with, I forget who he was with, but one of his buddies. But so McCourt is talking to Connery, and he says, "Well, Sean," he says, "I hear you had to make a decision at one point in your life between being a professional soccer player and an actor. Which one did you choose?"
Malachi wrote some funny stuff.
Yes, he did. Well. But did he write Tis, or was it?
Tis. I have it. Tis.
Yeah,
the book
I have it as well.
You should get it in the library. Tis. T-I-S. It's a collection of stories. Some sad, some poignant, some very, very funny ones.
Yeah.
But I was. How did we get onto that? But anyway, that's what you do when you're speaking to a few blokes with stories in their mind. But anyway, next weekend the World Cup rugby comes to the end. 2 semi-finals: England Saturday night, England and South Africa, and Argentina and the All Blacks Friday night. 3 Southern Hemisphere teams, which wasn't looking very likely a week ago. But there you go. That's the vagaries of sport for you. The next World Cup rugby is in Australia, so you know. Hopefully, Ireland will have built a new team by then. Well, they'll have to, because with so many retirements. I mean, with Keith Earls, Johnny Sexton, Peter O'Mahony. I mean, they're towering figures in Irish rugby. You know, it took England a while to come back when they lost the generation of Lawrence Delaley and all those guys, Derwynne, you know. It took them a while to get back, you know. It's
have you? I know, not without. I'm trying not to change the subject here, but I'm about to change the subject. Just to give it up. You know, when the Euro Championship football come back now, and they've got it in Ireland, Wales, and England.
Yeah.
There's been an idea put forward. It was on the London News that the qualifying, they should kind of make it, because what the argument is now is that Northern Ireland will have to qualify, Wales have got to qualify, Scotland have got to qualify, and Ireland will qualify, but England will get through because of their ranking. And what they're saying is that there should be just one qualifying group, and a bit like the old home internationals.
They were asked that question in UEFA, who's organising the thing, but they haven't made a definitive decision. But I mean,
they haven't made a decision.
No, they haven't, and now they won't have to make a decision for another 12 months anyway. But I think that to have 5 teams qualified automatically, which is, you can't allow. Say it's the tournament is granted to England and the Republic of Ireland.
Yeah,
I think England and the Republic of Ireland will qualify. I think they'll qualify automatically. That's the way I'm thinking of it, because they're the host.
They've got matches in Wales as well, haven't they? They're using.
Well, they've matches in Wales. They've matches in Wales and in Scotland, don't they?
Yeah,
and in Belfast and Dublin. But
yeah.
I think
Casement Park is not going to be ready though.
It is. Oh, it is.
Have they have they agreed that?
They
Because
have,
I mean,
it's all the building is beginning. Is
it
beginning
is.
in the new year, yeah. Casement Park. And there's a controversy now because it's called after Roger Case. Anyway, the thing about it is this. I think the hosts for this European Championships are the Republic of Ireland and England, and I think they'll both qualify. That's the way I'd read it, like any other host do.
Because the final's going to be at Wembley, isn't it? So
Yeah,
they've
well,
already decided.
Well, wasn't it Japan and South Korea that the World Cup was in
Yeah,
that
it was,
time?
yeah.
So both of those nations qualified because they were hosting.
they did.
So
Japan and Korea, wasn't it?
yeah,
They both qualified, yeah.
yeah. So the precedent has been set with it. So, but now FIFA have gone and given it the next World Cup to how many nations?
Well, it's Uruguay, isn't there?
But
Then
but haven't they
Morocco,
given it like to
Morocco?
four different ones or something like that?
Morocco's got it, haven't they? North Africa, Uruguay, Morocco. I think Spain's got it as well, haven't they?
Because I mean, how ridiculous is that? The amount of travel that these players are going to have to put in, these teams.
Yeah, what they're saying is there's going to be. I think the first round of matches are going to be in Uruguay.
Well, they're going to base a number of groups in one continent and a number of groups in the other, which is getting silly buggers to me now. It's really.
Oh, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, what is it? A traveling circus here or what now?
I mean, the Olympics, the Olympics, which is the next biggest sporting tournament outside the World Cup, a host city they have for the Olympics for how many disciplines. Soccer is becoming ridiculous. Soccer is becoming all about money and income, and not about the punters or the game.
No, I mean it's absolutely. But again, is this like FIFA? Is this Infantino's way of trying to get votes from people?
Well, I would, I wouldn't be. Yeah, of course, sure. Infantino is a creature of septic platter, so really,
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he went about it by giving money to people and putting facilities up for grabs and stuff like that to get votes.
Yeah,
keep him going. But it just never ceases to amaze me how these guys can make decisions that never put the players first.
no.
I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous to think about putting this on. Was it 4 different continents they're going to put it on?
I don't know. Is there any definitive decision made yet? But it's.
Well, Morocco have definitely got. North Africa have got it, and Uruguay. I know that.
Well, didn't South Africa host the World Cup?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
They did. So the African, they'll have it somewhere in the Far East. Like, well, when they had it in a country where there was no soccer, they're liable to have it anywhere, And if what's his name has his way, Elon Musk, they'll probably have a group above in the moon. He'll take. I mean, I wouldn't.
I reckon you 3 of us could manage to get to the
moon. Yeah, that's yeah.
I would I'd hate to be a goalkeeper on the moon trying to save the ball.
Yeah. But how are they justifying putting one? I mean, how big is Casement Park? Is it about 20,000?
That'll be more.
Will it be more than that?
It'll be 35. It'll be the main GA stadium in the 6 counties. So it'll be, I reckon it'll be around the 35. I think. I don't know. I'm only guessing. I didn't look up the statistics before. But I mean, we have some fine stadium. We have a 85,000 seater stadium in Croke Park. We have a 40,000 seater in Lansdowne Road. And we have another 45,000 seater in Cork. And another 40,000 seater in Thurles. So we have plenty seats, plenty stadia as well, But I think Dublin are getting a quarter-final. They'll have a quarter-final. I know that. And I know because they're talking about tickets already,
Yeah.
for 2028. We'll be busy for 2 years. We'll have the Ryder Cup in 27, and we'll have the European Championships in 28.
You
So
better sort me and Joe out with some media passes, didn't you?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, we'll any GA stadium will be all right to get a few passes. You know, we'll be fine.
So, tell us, has that been modernized now?
They have Ardon Irene, the new stand. Well, they're calling it the new stand, but it's still about 12, 13 years. But they have improved facilities there. I mean, the finest stadium in Ireland at the moment is Páirc Uí Chaoimh in Cork, as regards facilities and stuff for people. You know, I was there now 3 or 4 matches this year, my friend, and we did, but it's really magnificent. I remember going in there when you had to wear a pair of Wellingtons, summer and winter. It was so boggy and so bad down there, you know. But anyway,
So what was there before Páirc Uí Chaoimh?
that was the old Cork Athletic Grounds, Joe. The Cork Athletic Grounds in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. You see, the Irish word for Cork is Corkig, which is translated means a marsh.
Huh?
That's what it means. A marsh. It was built on the marsh, the whole city.
I mean, I'd been to the stadium. I mean, I'd watched Limerick way back in the 60s.
Yeah.
Played Tipperary down there, I think it was. We went down. I had cousins that lived down in Cork, so we'd always go down and see the big matches down there. I've been to Flower Lodge and to
Flower Lodge, the soccer.
and Turner's Cross.
Turner's Cross, yeah.
Yeah. So, but who's playing at Páirc Uí Chaoimh now?
Well, they had the testimonial for Liam Miller. Do you remember Liam Miller?
I remember that.
Yeah. They had the testimonial soccer match for him down in Páirc Uí Chaoimh at the time, you know. And
so are Cork playing their matches there then?
All the matches there, except the league matches, which wouldn't generate the amount of people to have in the stadium. So they play their lesser matches in less important games in the old Flower Lodge, which GA bought and called that after Christy Ring, Páirc Uí Reen, the Oscar Christy Ring Park, which is the old Flower Lodge, Joe.
Yeah.
You know, it's a nice job, nice place.
Yeah. And then are Munster going to play any matches there, or is that not a big?
No, Munster play there. Munster have 2 venues to play in the matches in the rugby. They have Thomond Park in Limerick, and they have Musgrave Park in Cork.
Right. And Musgrave Park is still a goer?
Musgrave Park, they still play games there. It's called, I know what they have to call it, the Irish Independent Park, I think it's called, but it's Musgrave Park.
Hey, guys, I've just had a text message from a mate of mine who's a golf pro in Brussels, and he's gone to the game tonight for the Belgium game.
Yeah?
Just text me, oh no, there's been a terrorist attack here at the game in Brussels.
Go away.
There's some terrorist attack has happened in the stadium at the Belgium game.
Oh,
that's very sad altogether, lads. Just very sad.
Oh dear.
Yeah, literally, just text me.
Jeepers.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, you just
it's
never know.
It's 1-1 at the moment. Belgium and Sweden are 1-1. I'm just looking at the scores, you know. It's 3-0.
He's literally just text saying there's been a terrorist attack.
It's 3-0 to Ireland. I don't know anything coming, and I know there's anything coming in the wires, the BBC. I mean, there was. It's very sad. Why can't people just get on? Like we're all human beings. Like why can't they just get on with themselves?
It's the, you know, the early. I remember years ago. I remember when Harrods got bombed that time. We passed Harrods that day. We were going when I was at Grimsby. We were going down to play Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, and it was kind of like, you know, I mean, I turned to my buddy and I went, we're kind of getting the feedback from it, what had happened. And I said, you know what? Our wives could have been in there.
Yeah.
You know, shopping for this. I mean, that to me really upset me to think that, that why are we targeting people like that? Why is it always innocent people that get hurt in these things?
Yeah, in war,
Yeah, yeah,
the children, women and children, and older folk like ourselves.
yeah, yeah.
We won't include
I
you
think
in that,
between the
Derwynne.
three of us, between the three of us, we could all tell some stories, couldn't we, about
Oh yeah,
some of the nonsense that's gone on in the past with regards,
Yeah, that's
other
true.
stuff.
That's true. And you look back at it a couple of years down the road and you wonder, what was all this about? What was it for,
yeah, yeah.
There you go. Anyway, guys, we've reached the end of another SportsView. And it's been a pleasure having you along again for this Monday night. And Ireland are winning the soccer team in against Gibraltar 3-0, as expected. There's a bit of positivity. The best of luck to England, Derwynne, next Saturday night against South Africa. They lead,
Hey, we've got to get past Italy tomorrow night as well.
and Italy, yes. They didn't meet Italy since the European Championships. Actually, if they beat Italy, there's a danger of them not qualifying. Do you know that?
Yeah.
So
Why is that?
because of the way Italy are situated in the group to qualify for 2024 European Championship. So England have a lot of skin in the game, against Italy. Wish them well. I like them playing. I like to watch them playing. Was your man booed the last day he came on as a sub, Jordan Henderson?
Yeah,
He was booed all the way through the game, to be honest.
Well, that's terrible.
it's
He's
it's absolutely ridiculous.
He's a professional soccer player, for God's sake.
There's not one single person in Wembley that night who wouldn't have gone to play in Saudi Arabia for the money.
That's right. It's like Frankie Dettori and all the English, and he's not English, but all the other English jockeys that ply their trade in the Middle East and Saudi Arabia and go all over the world. Are they booed and they come back?
No, it's England fans, isn't it? I mean, they're all a bit. I'm an England fan, but I mean, they're all. I mean, England. You know what? You play for England must be amazing. To play at Wembley and all the rest of it, right?
Yeah.
Joe, you've played at Wembley, so I've lived in Wembley. That's the closest I've got.
Yeah.
But you sit there and you think it must be an unbelievable thrill. I've played Augusta. You guys would again give your kidneys to go and have a game around Augusta.
Yeah.
But you sit there and go, what goes on in the fans' heads? I mean, they booed England. They booed Henderson when he was being announced coming on the pitch at the beginning.
Yeah.
They booed the whole of the England team off at half time. Like properly booed. It wasn't just, a little bit. It was the whole of the crowd. The whole of the ground was booing. And every time Henderson got the ball, he was just being jeered. I don't know what the right word is, but
yeah.
And again, this I just said, there's not one single person in the stadium that night who had been offered 100 million to go and play football in Saudi Arabia would have gone no.
No, absolutely not. And talking about Arsenal and Laura Davis, Arsenal will be playing Chelsea next in their game. That's the next match in London, so they don't have to far travel. But we must get her on the program, Derwynne, Laura Davis. So she'll be worth the thing.
Oh yeah, you'd have a great time with her.
Where does she live?
She's loved it. She still lives in Surrey, just down the road from where I am.
Oh, does she? Oh, yeah, good. Yeah. Tell her we like a word with her some Monday night, and she can smoke and all in the program. There's no problem. You drink right through the whole thing.
She can smoke, she can drink, she can do whatever she does.
Yeah, whatever.
Gambling or what sweater you got on tonight?
Right, yeah.
What colour sweater is Pat going to wear tonight? Val Dunican, what's he wearing tonight?
Right here. Val and the jumpers from Derwynne, Honan, from Joe Waters and myself, Lester. We see you again. Take care and have a great week. And the best of luck to England on the double in the soccer and the rugby. And we'll be watching. Take care. We'll see you next Monday. Take care, lads.
See you guys.
Take care, guys. Take care. Bye.